Hi there. Today we're going to be reading Outside In. It is a Caldecott Honor book written by Deborah Underwood and illustrated by Cindy Derby. After we read the book, we are going to go over some of the art a little more in depth, just kind of exploring so that we can see some of the beautiful illustrations by Cindy Derby a little more closely. All right, let's get started. Outside In. Outside In by Deborah Underwood, illustrated by Cindy Derby. Once, we were part of outside, and outside was part of us. There was nothing between us. Now, sometimes even when we're outside, we're inside. We forget outside is there. So outside reminds us. With flashes at the window and slow magic tricks. It sends the sunset and shadows inside to play. Outside sings to us with chirps and rustles and tap-taps on the roof. It beckons with smells, sun-baked, fresh, and mysterious. Outside feeds us. Sun, rain, and seeds become warm bread and berries. Outside cuddles us in clothes, once puffs of cotton. It holds us in wooden chairs, once trees. We feel outside in the warm weight of our cats and the rough fur of our dogs. Outside shows us there is a time to rest and a time to start fresh. Outside steals inside, a spider seeking shelter, a box elder bug in the bath, a tiny snail on kale, even rivers come inside, cool water rushing, eager to return to the sea. I'm here, outside says. I miss you. Outside waits. And we answer. The end. Okay, let's take a look at some of the artwork in Outside In. First of all, it's a beautiful cover with lots of green, because we know when we go outside, we do see lots of green with the trees and the grass, evergreens. We see all kinds of bright colors, nice contrasts. We see even storms, maybe, in the background, and rain. This beautiful book has so many dynamic color palettes throughout, color schemes as we go. There are lots of deep, deep green, forest green, teals, lime green, all kinds of contrasting colors. And then we have these bright pops of yellow and orange. Beautiful. I love the contrast where you have these very, very dark things that make it feel very mysterious, and very light things contrasting that. You see some of these strokes that get us thinking about evergreen trees. Then we see some deciduous trees around here. See a little cat following. I love this perspective. Here's this road. We're looking ahead from like a bird, and we're looking down at this car. We see some birds. Then we go inside that very car. And since it's inside, it says here we're inside. The inside stuff is kind of black and gray. And everything that is full of life, like actual biological life, like the science kind of life, like all of the trees and animals and people, they're so full of color. And all of the man-made stuff that keeps us inside tends to be less colorful. It's gray and black. Even here, as they park their car and go inside their house, the car is kind of a gray silhouette, and other houses in the neighborhood are sort of gray silhouettes. Even their own house they're walking up to with the stairs, just a light silhouette. And all of the pops of color are coming from the actual sort of biological life that we see around us. Here we have the house in the background in that gray silhouette. And look at the scale of this snail, which is typically in real life a tiny little thing on a leaf. On this picture, part of it is because of the perspective. This is closer and this is further away. But I think it is also showing us the importance of even the smallest little creatures in nature. So this snail is about the same size as this house. What does that say to us as we look at this picture? Does it make them equally important? We see inside here, again, gray, but we see these flashes of light coming in, always the shadows coming in. And here we are outside. And I love the interplay between the words and the illustrations. This was a fantastic collaboration between Deborah Underwood and Cindy Derby. Flashes at the window and slow magic tricks. I love that phrase, and slow magic tricks to get to the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. I like this repetition of orange color throughout. We're slow magic tricks too, aren't we? This is interesting. We have outside in this little corner over here, but casting long shadows and bringing light inside. We have this chair that's facing, its back is facing the window. So it's really hard to be able to see outside. And we see this back of the chair here, and all the light is being cast to the back of the chair. And she's not really getting the benefit of it, is she? The kitty is. Now I love this picture. this picture, this illustration, reminds me so much of how we think of things in our minds, how we have pictures in our minds, how it's kind of like a collage inside our thoughts, where we kind of have a mixture of all kinds of pictures and memories and understandings happening at the same time. Seldom will we actually look at our house like this, but we might know that that's how it's shaped. So that's in our minds, along with what's outside of it. And I just love this. It's just so striking to me how so many of these images feel like how we think, how our imagination is. And the mysteries here. Normally we don't see a cross section of the earth, but here we do, and we see this little tunnel with the little earthworm wiggling through. And here, these details of what the actual kitchen looks like aren't as important. So they're sort of sketched in just by erasing some stuff. It's, again, kind of like memory. The important things, life, are kind of more highlighted. The kitty and the berries and food, all of the plants and the products of the earth. Here we have all of these whimsical lines in this sweater and these simple lines for her hair. You don't have to know how to draw realistically to draw with a lot of expression. Here we have the shadows of the chair are not in the same shape as the chair, are they? They're more echoing where that chair came from trees. And here we have more of this loose and whimsical and kind of, in some ways, perfectly imperfect imagery. We have these little bare feet. We have this cat and some little wisps coming across here. We have the sketches that were drawn, and then they were colored in a different way. Kind of just goes to show you that the best coloring is not always the coloring that is perfectly within the lines. Sometimes it can be more expressive and give a different feeling if it's painted outside of the lines, and if the lines are sort of sketched in to give suggestions of what something looks like. Again, we have the darkness with the house, and all of the color is coming from what the outside provides us. We have these tiny little details, these little bugs and creatures who've made it inside. And again, just like with that countertop, we have the pipes in white here going through this river and heading out into the sea. And then we have the light and the shadows rushing in. And look who's peeking around the chair. Here, looking outside, ready to go out. And then being full color into the world outside with this big forest. Beautiful colors, beautiful watercolor. A lot that we can do to express ourselves without being completely realistic. I love Outside In. I hope you love it too.